Well, on this
not
one,
not make it so raw. It's just like let's just chat, right?
rolling on this one.
Audio's rolling.
2 or 3 when I did the Rage record, right?
Yeah.
Which is fucked up.
Well, right, that was what, 92, right?
91 we were in the studio with.
I was born in 97.
Wow.
So I wasn't even around then. 6 years old by the time I was raised.
So fucking scary. Okay.
Yeah, and I would literally go in my dad's office, pirate off of his computer the Rage album, put it on my iPod, and then listen when they didn't know I was listening, because they wouldn't let me listen to Rage.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
That is Garth Richardson. You'll know him from any number of legendary rock albums, but for me, it was Rage Against the Machine. They were my first favorite band, all the way back to 3rd grade. Today, I'll be interviewing him to find out the exact process that he used to record their first album. Then, I'll use that information to recreate their opening song Bomb Track in as much detail and as accurately as I possibly can in a home studio. And then we're gonna show it to him.
It's hard. It's hard.
So let's get started.
What I wanted to do was just kind of go through, in as much detail as I can get from you, how you did it in that setting, and then how we can translate that to a home recording session.
Right. The thing is that we spent like a lot of time making sure that we had the right amps, the right sounds.
Right.
Made sure that Brad's drum sounded great. Timmy's bass sound was a very simple SWR head, and then we had an SWR cabinet, and we had 2 mics on the bass cabinet. Tom actually had a 50 watt a PV, and then a 50 watt Marshall, and that was it. Right, very simple 421 57s on the amps.
Let's just go through first that whole initial setup, like the room in Sound City, right? There's 2 rooms?
Yeah, there's 2 rooms. There was A, which we were in that room, and then there was another Studio B. We had a concert PA system in the room. No one could record in B because of the bleed, because the bottom end was so loud and intense. We called up the other studio and said, this song's in E. So if you guys want to record in your room, you're going to have to do something in E. All the bleed would be in the same key.
We got a PA, 2 dividers, drum kit, and all of the vocals were in the room too.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, live, because I got to go watch them play live. I met the band for the first time. They played me 3 songs. I do have a stutter. And after they played me 3 songs in this Van Nuys in a room about this size here, I couldn't talk because I had seen something that I'd never seen before, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This was the most intense, incredibly talented guys, right? And I was just like, holy shit, I couldn't talk.
Right.
So my brain worked to where I felt I could take them into the studio and turn them into like a place to where they had to, each guy had their own little station and they all had on their headphones. I wanted to redo that live feeling.
Yeah.
So I brought in the PA system thinking this is going to work. I think I didn't know. I just did it and it worked.
You do what they told you. You do what they told you. You do what they told you. Now 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 you do what they told you.
So it was never even in the discussion to do overdubbing.
We had to do actually a few things. We had to go back and actually double up guitars and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Mostly live off the floor.
But like the bass, the drum sound,
everything what you got was live. There was no editing. There was no cutting tape.
Vocal bleed, was it all just additive? Like, did you get a lot of the drums in the 58 that he used?
Oh yeah. But with the 58, the mic which you have right there,
right?
Basically, if you're on access to it, the bleed like around it's really bad. Andy Wallace would actually mute the vocals. It wasn't being sung.
Oh, got
so
it.
Bleed, because there's one song that we cut completely live off the floor, "Settle for Nothing," and Tom wanted to actually have have his solo done again. If you listen closely, you can hear the old solo coming through with the drum mics.
The bleed must have been relatively tolerable then, because I've never noticed that on Settle for Nothing.
Yeah, but if you listen to the solo, you hear the solo and then you hear the answer. But that's the old solo.
The other thing I wanted to mention about the actual room setup itself, you guys brought in a live audience for a few of the tracks too.
Yes, we wanted to, because she did my pre-pro with the band live. I went to like one of their shows and I mixed the console for them, right? Because now we have a band and you go after the drum tracks first, and then you overdub the bass, and then you do all the guitars. I didn't want that with this band. I wanted them to be pure, right? So then I got all the friends to come in, and I think we had maybe 40, 50 people there. Yeah, and we ought to say, at the end of the song, don't make a noise, just shh, quiet, right? Yeah.
Way at the edge, because you have that handycam set up, and I'll have some of the footage in the video. There must be behind the handycam then?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Did you forget your name? Did you lose it on a war playing tic-tac-toe? Yo, check the diagonal. 3 brothers going, come on. Doesn't that make it 3 in a row? I think it was a gift.
I wanted to get into the drum layout. The first thing that struck me whenever I'm thinking about how to recreate this is all of the mics on the drum kit and how crazy it seems, because there's SDCs all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I saw an RE20 on the toms.
Yeah, RE20 on the toms. We had 452s on the actual cymbals. We basically tight mic'd everything.
Okay.
Because of the PA system.
Right.
And every mic had pads in them because they were this close to actual cymbals, right? So with the transient peaks from that, they were going to blow up with the mics.
Right.
So we put lots of pads on the mics, and then we had to get everything tight mic'd.
Okay.
Well, why? It does sound so powerful.
Is it 257s on the snare, or what's going
57s
on?
57s on the top.
Okay. Top and bottom.
And the bottom, yeah.
And then like a Beta 52 on the kick?
Or 21 inside the kick, and then we had a 47 FET on the outside.
Got it. And is it a stereo pair of 414s over top?
Yeah.
This is going to be pretty intense to recreate in the bedroom, but I'm excited.
Right.
Michael's over there probably like, well, how are we going to fit this all in my room?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah.
If you actually check out the subscriber number that we have here, we're still a pretty small channel, and I've been blessed to have these videos be seen by more than just the subscriber base. Really, the only way that we can do that is through audience engagement. These videos take a ton of effort, months and months of coordination, editing, and mixing. If you enjoy it and you'd like to see more, doing the subscriber thing, the like thing, the comment thing, it really does wonders for this algorithm-wise. So thank you so much.
Now, the great thing about Sound City, which no one ever talks about, that studio was haunted. You go into the back rooms to where there were these little offices that no one would ever go in there, because you go back there and you get fucking cold. You're freezing and you go, okay, I have to leave now. Joe Barisi and I were by ourselves, and we're in there, no one else in the thing, and then the intercom rings, and you pick up and you're like, hello, and there's no one there, and you hang up the phone, and then it rings again, and you go, and like Joe and I would look at each other and go, I think it's time to go home. it was like, and the Matt Hyde, who did the Slayer record, was sitting out front in front of the studio and saw the ghosts coming down the stairs. And he came in with a cigar and went, I just saw the ghosts and I have to go home now. So you had these amps in the back rooms.
Right.
We had mics in those, and it all came back out through the PA system.
You mentioned the bass amps earlier. So was it a 57 on it, or was it DI?
No, we had a 421 on the actual tweeter.
Okay.
And then we had actual 47 FET on the bigger speaker on the SWR cabinet.
And guitar amps, he's running through Marshalls?
Yeah, 2 Marshall cabinets, and then he had a 50-watt PV, and we had a 50-watt Marshall head.
But the guitar was 57s.
Guitars was 57s, 421s. Yeah, that's what we've been using since mankind on the planet. Yeah. The one thing that people do not realize, those amp sounds were clean
and just really loud.
But just really loud. They had lots of attack. The thing is that get a bigger sound, the cleaner it is bigger. Yeah.
So when you say
it's a
clean,
weird
it was straight up clean and distorting with tubes, or was there like any mild overdrive on it at all?
Just actually barely.
Barely.
Yeah. Also did a little kind of EQ on it.
Right.
Just a tad.
Is that the 8028 console? That's like the Dave Grohl did the whole thing about.
Yeah,
It was
That
exact
room
one?
was 9 months, I think it was. There was the first Nirvana record was
Right.
made there. The first Tool record was made there.
Yep.
I did the first Rage record there. So those three kind of iconic records were all made there. Zach actually blew out his voice so that we had to overdub the vocals later.
Okay.
Because his voice was shot. And then I brought him inside of the control room, and we had the big speakers in the room. I put them up as actually loud as they could go. I cleared out in front of the console where all the faders were. I was over in the corner, and I went go. And he had the microphone 58, and he just went and he sang, just like it was like he'd fuck up, stop, roll back. Okay, ready, punch in there, great, punch in, and he just keep going. Because again, I didn't want to not capture the actual live feel. Nowadays it's like line by line, syllable by syllable. My job was to capture the actual performance. What's lacking today is that people are so, shall I say, anal about making sure everything is actually perfect that you're losing the vibe and you're losing the feel.
The overdubbing then, is it the same mic position? Is it the
It
same
was
guitar
exact same.
settings?
Yep. Same sound, same settings. We didn't really alter it. Yeah, but loud too. Loud, very loud.
Those are basically all the instruments, but I wanted to talk a little bit about like in terms of like production and routing.
Okay.
You mentioned to it a little bit earlier, but it's all done on a Neve 8028.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Use your box as it's a tape machine. Make sure you spend the time to make sure that you get the best sound possible going into the box. I've had many people that say, "Hey man, can you hear my mix?" And I hear the mix, and they have 13 plugins on actually one track, and they go, "It doesn't sound good." And I go, "Well, hold on," and I take them all off. And I go, "Well, that's why this is a horrible source sound." We spent a lot of time making sure that we had the right compression on the drums, the right compression on the bass, the right EQ on the bass and guitars. We made sure they were the right balance, because if you get it into the box right, then if you do anything after the fact, it's going to be easier. Yeah.
But how much of that tweaking is the EQ on the console, the compression on the console?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah?
That console was magical. You literally push up your fader on your kick drum and go little 8K, take a little bit of 400 hertz, and then you're done. Right? That board sounded phenomenal. That was half the battle. Every phenomenal mixer, Mike Fraser, who's done the last actually 6 AC/DC records, Randy Staub, who done a lot of records, Randy Wallace, Chris Shaw, actually Joe Rabrisi. They only have one EQ, and they maybe have a compressor. That's it. Everybody that now puts on 13 different compressors, and they put all this, like they can put plugins for days and days and days.
Right.
Stop that. Just pick one EQ and pick one compressor, and then
I need to hear that.
right. It's always let's put in front of your source. If it's a shitty source, then you have to fix that.
I'm an offender whenever it comes
That's
to that.
yeah, but we all are. It's like going into this huge candy store. You can take all the candy you want.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a bag and you're going to fill it up.
What's something that producers like myself or people that are working in a bedroom studio that you think things that you wish would change about production in 2023?
Stop listening to all of the idiots on the internet telling you this is kind of how you do things. Not you, of course. I'm sorry. Apologies for that one. But use your ears. Listen to what you're doing,
right,
and experiment. Stop doing what everybody else is doing and try and do things differently. And just take risks. Trying not to follow lead. If I could be so bold.
Garth, thank you so much.
Sir.
It's been an honor.
Always a pleasure.
So as many of you know, videos are coming out less often now for the sake of producing higher quality content. I hope this video is a good example of how we're doing that, but the downside to this is just objectively the channel doesn't make as much revenue as it used to. So I made a merch line. The merch is really cool. It's like a punk band or a metal band logo, really, really high quality soft shirts and really, really amazing honeycomb beanies. I think it doesn't read like a YouTube channel at all. It's just like a band shirt. I don't know about you guys, but sleeves are like a huge thing for me. These are like really well fitting sleeves and they're really soft. So really proud of this, actually. Right now, this is the most direct, best way that you can support the channel. So if you'd like to, I'd really appreciate it. And you get a really cool piece of merch in return. This has been, bar none, the hardest, most time-consuming recreation that I have ever tried. I've had track recreations that involved 80 different tracks. They don't hold a candle to this 4-part song. Not only was this the hardest one I've ever done, but the person who made the record, my very first favorite record as a kid, they're gonna judge it. I have legitimately had several nightmares about this. In order to capture the sound of the original record, we'll be using our sponsor Universal Audio's Sound City plugin. This plugin recreates the sound of Studio A and recreates the sound of the iconic Neve board. I really tried my best to get 90% of the tone just through recording, mic placement, and production. You'll see soon, that is easier said than done. We recreated the drum layout that they used in the original sessions, just subbing in different microphones. In order to do that, we had to lace a Universal Audio X8P with another X8P via ADAT, and then basically lace together 16 different inputs. Now, because we aren't Sound City, our mic armory is a little bit more humble. Take a moment to pause and compare the different microphones we used as compared to their microphones. The room mics are just straight up different because we don't have what looks like a U67. Michael's room, which by the way, if you need a drummer, here is Michael's info. I highly recommend working with him. It was heavily treated to get as dead of a sound as possible. That means like having blankets over every single window, all the doors. And he hit the drums probably like as hard as humanly possible without getting kicked out of his apartment. I'm actually surprised he didn't get kicked out of his apartment. Now I should note that I actually did end up blending the kick with a sampled kick, and then I gated the original snare to only get that initial snap hit of it, and then blended 2 different snare samples together to make a heavier sounding snare. So here's the kick with and without the sample. And the snare with and without the sample. And finally, here's the full drum sound building progressively from the kick upwards. Bass was hard, man. Bass was hard. Oh, this was all hard. Just wait for the guitars. First off, we had to record bass twice. Tim, the bassist from Rage, he plays fingerstyle. A lot of people think he plays with a pick or slaps it. Nah, he's just hitting those strings hard. So Greg, otherwise known as
Mr. Kindness with a period. There's another Mr. Kindness without a period, and I hate him. Don't put that in. Don't put that in. I don't hate him. I was Mr. Kindness first.
We had to retrack bass because he was hitting those strings so hard, his arms swelled up.
All right, let me know when you're ready.
Oh, fuck. I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do this.
As far as I'm aware, this is the first video that truly unearths the actual bass rig on the first album. Those SWR heads and cabinets, they're like relics of the 90s at this point. And his current rig, which is more well known, he still modifies, and he also modifies his pedals and doesn't tell people what he did to them. One of our only guiding lights was I managed to find this isolated track of the Killing in the Name bass line. Luckily, I do have a Squier jazz bass. Timmy plays jazz basses sometimes, and Universal Audio, by luck of the draw, just happened to have an SVT3 and an SVT-R amp simulations. So I ended up doing a digital emulation of his rig. And after tons of experimentations with different pedal simulators, I ended up choosing a DoD 250 preamp. I use that as our stand-in for the Marshall Governor pedal. So here's building up that tone from a pure DI signal to full 30 signal. Now, although I don't think this was the most accurate bass tone on its own, in the mix, I found that it hit pretty hard. Guitars. This was one of the hardest tones I've ever tried to get in my life. This is just a merch plug, what I'm doing right now. Buy the merch. All right, welcome to Pirate Studios. I feel like a Batman villain in here. So we've come here as opposed to my studio because I would like to be able to crank my amp up to 10. And that's just not possible in a Brooklyn apartment. It might be possible where you live, and if it is, I'm jealous. I made the decision early on, even though I did have Marshall amp sims, that I'm gonna do this recorded. So here's the game plan. Bring my deluxe reverb tone master, which is the solid state non-tube version of a deluxe reverb, and crank it to 10. Then use an SM57 and a sphere mic doing an MD421 emulation to remake the miking situation that they had at Sound City. And then, because I'm working with the wrong amp, spend as much time as humanly possible just making micro adjustments to the mic placement in order to get an accurate tone. So we're going with this. This is Splat. Splat is a 1984 Gibson Les Paul Standard Gold Top that has been heavily modded. Fun fact, named Splat because in my old band I used to play it so aggressively that I would splatter blood all over the guitar. Maybe we should try for that today. And that did happen, by the way. I did bleed all over this instrument while trying to do this. So I did literally bleed for this video, so please subscribe. Got my guitar at the highest position as per Mr. Tom Morello's instruction. Not really, he didn't really instruct me, I'm just saying that's what he does. But there were so many problems with my game plan. See those headphones? Those are Meze Classic 99s, and I would not exactly call them neutral headphones. My monitoring situation was just not on my side and it was not accurate. A few other things too. This amp is a 22 watt amp. It started to break up far too early. The tone was just miles off when I went and listened on monitors. Let's address the amp. Upon arriving to Pirate Studios where I did this shoot, I noticed a Fender Twin Tone Master. That's an 85 watt amp. Plenty of wattage compared to my little 22 watt. On the pedal board, we're going into the normal option. Apparently, according to Joe Bonamassa, this one has more gain.
Plug into the normal channel, it's got more gain.
I hope he's
not just making something up.
And next, since we can't trust our monitoring situation, rather than using 2 different microphones and blindly trusting them to be accurate, I brought 5 microphones. The goal was to mic 1 speaker on the Fender Twin with 1 condenser and 1 dynamic. If I can't accurately monitor these tones while I'm tracking, I was just going to trust that some combination of these 5 microphones would get me somewhere accurate.
This is right out of the box, barely did anything. Sounds pretty good. I'm louder than every band in this rehearsal space right now, and it's just 1 guitar amp.
Every metal band, every punk band, every other band in that room was being drowned out by the sound of for hours. I really felt bad. The ground was shaking. I've never played that loud in my life. So to push that Fender Twin over the edge, all I added was my Wampler Tumnus. That had 0 gain on it. I was just using the circuit and the Tumnus to push a little bit more volume. And I decided that the Loudon Clarion, the Shure SM57, and the Universal Audio SD1 were going to be the 3 microphones that carry the tone forward. And then with virtually no EQ, just a little bit of compression, our guitar tones were finally done. And then also, here's a comparison of our first tone compared to our final tone. We had Sam from the Bobby Lees, if you know that band.
Hello, this is Bobby Lee. Am I talking to the Bobby Lees?
Hey!
Hey!
Bobby, what's up?
Killer New York hardcore band. If you don't know them, go follow them. They are an insane live act. She came in and knocked out 4 different takes. Then we just did overdubs, and that's about it. We ended up using the Universal Audio SD1, although you can absolutely just use a Shure SM57 and get a very similar result. I really just tried not to get in her way and let her just get in the zone with tracking. One of the biggest parts of this mix is that all of these tracks were sent to a parallel send that has the Sound City reverb on it. This emulated the kind of live environment that Rage was recording in. I can't stress to you enough how important this was to the mix. Here's a portion of the mix with and without it.
Okay, Garth just texted me. I am freaking out. I have to nervous pee. That's what's gonna happen.
So I have it here now. I'm going to play it. Let's see if I can open it up.
Cool.
And so began one of the most nervous 4 minutes of my entire life. But before hearing his final reaction, why don't you check out the performance for yourself and let me know what you think.
Hey yo, it's just another watch it burn, burn, burn. Yes, you're gonna 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 burn. Yes, you're gonna burn, burn. Yes, you're gonna burn, burn, burn. Yes, you're gonna burn, burn, burn. Yes, you're gonna burn, burn, burn. Yes, you're gonna burn. Hey yo, it's just another bomb track. Yeah. Check it out. Check it out. Burn, burn, yes, you're gonna burn. 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 Burn, burn, yes, you're gonna burn.
Well done.
Yeah, you liked it?
Well done. You know what? Well done.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. I'm glad. It took a long time.
It's hard. It's hard when you're doing it in an apartment, right?
Oh, it's crazy hard. Like the biggest weakness that I thought I had and biggest insecurity is that we weren't able to do it live like in Sound City.
Oh no, that's great. Singer, that's great. The bass
Yeah.
player was good. You were phenomenal. Right? Was it hard to not have to use all the plugins?
Incredibly hard.
Do you understand now, right? Do you understand why?
Absolutely. It's funny how, especially with distortion on the guitar, it sounds so strong and raw in the room, but too much saturation on the guitars, it sounds so two-dimensional whenever you start to record it with the mic.
Yeah. The singer's great. She did a phenomenal job. Tell her that too, please.
Oh, totally.
Right, she-
Sam, yeah.
Good.
All right, Garth. Thanks again.
Okay, have fun.
All
Okay,
right, bye-bye, man.
peace. See you. Bye.
This has been nothing short of an honor to do this. It feels very full circle. And depending on when you see this, this is either the first video after 100K or the video that gets me over 100K. And the fact that it was my first favorite band, and the fact that I could show it to the man who produced it, just know it's not lost on me. And I owe everything to people who watch it like you. Thank you.